Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Coag Conversations. I'm your host, Doom Cutie, and today we have the lovely Hannah, or lovingly known online as Eeramz. Hello.
That's the one. Hello, Doom. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited about this one. And low-key, a little bit nervous as well, I'll admit.
Look, I've always been someone who feels nervous for every episode, to be honest. And now I just do it so much that I have no time to feel nervous.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, it's just like get in and get it done.
Yes, it is. But don't worry, I'll go easy on you, okay?
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Very much appreciated.
It's so fantastic to have someone like yourself on here for a conversation, because what we're going to talk about today is actually something that's more common than I think is publicly shown. Because at the end of the day, you know, both Hannah and I, we're in a space, in the social media space, where people show a lot of surface level perfection to their lives.
They do, yes.
And sometimes this particular, I'd say, particular facet of our lives doesn't get shown as much.
Yes.
But it's really big to who we are.
It really is. And I think also too, I think people choose not to show this part of their lives for other reasons as well. Not so much it just being like a secret.
No, we'll get into that for sure.
Yeah. But it certainly adds another dimension to us as humans and as women, and particularly gamer women as well.
Well, before we get into the meat of the sandwich that is this conversation, why don't you tell everyone who you are and what you do?
Sure. So I am a radio announcer for my local commercial radio station. I live in a rural area, much like yourself.
Shout out to all the rural girlies out there.
Rural girlies represent. So I'm from Central West New South Wales. And yeah, I'm a mum and a content creator over on Instagram.
Amazing.
And that's me, and that's what I do.
What got you started in creating your Instagram?
So it would have been about 8 years ago or so, when I was on maternity leave and didn't have much to do at all. I kind of turned to gaming, and I was sharing just posts on my regular everyday Instagram feed of the games that I was playing. You know, the aesthetic picture of my coffee with my gaming controller and those kinds of things. But then my audience back then, my friends and family, weren't interested in that kind of stuff. And then I discovered actually Bookstagram, first of all. And I was like, oh, wouldn't this be really cool if it was like books, but instead of books, it was games? And then I discovered that there is a whole world out there. And I thought, you know what, these might be my people. So I just started posting, like I made a separate account and I just started dedicating that to the kind of games that I was playing and the other like nerdy, geeky interests that I had at the time as well. So like I collect Pokemon cards, I dabble in Warhammer, and I also read and watch movies and stuff too. So I just kind of incorporated all of those geeky pop culture kind of things that I was into onto that account. And then, yeah, it just kind of grew from there.
Amazing. So it's so funny how something, you know, you don't think much of, because it's something that is just small in your everyday life, can be this massive thing.
Yeah, and it really became, I guess, a bit of a creative outlet for me as well. Yeah. And also, I didn't really adjust to becoming a mum super well initially. Like I was hit like a freight train by postnatal depression and all that other fun stuff that comes from entering motherhood. And also just being home a lot. Like I went from working full time to being home all the time. And where some people might think that that would be incredible, for me, it was a really difficult adjustment. So I just needed something, and I guess just to cling on to my identity as Hannah and not as mum kind of thing
Yeah,
as well, which is what that account really became. And then from that, I did dabble in like streaming and stuff like that. But, you know, when you've got a newborn and then eventually a toddler, it's really hard to commit to those kinds of things. But we're 8
definitely.
years on now, and my son's now got his own little, like, he loves his own games, and then I've got my games, and it's something we share together. And he keeps nagging me about wanting to start a YouTube channel, but we'll cross that bridge in a couple more years, I think.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's so much to navigate with
Oh,
that.
big time.
I will say that it's actually a amazing thing that you have managed to hang on to a part of yourself through the very somewhat dark times that you can have in early motherhood.
Mm.
Um, what what were some of the what were some of the in particular games or things that you were doing that helped you with that?
So for me, it's always been Pokemon, and it has been a thing for me, like, ever since kind of Pokemon came to be. So I was 8, I think, when I first was exposed to Pokemon, and I think it was around the time it came out, and it's just been a constant for me ever since. So I would just sit there and play my Pokemon games on my DS, aka my Pokemon machine. So while I had my son sort of in my arms and asleep here, I'd be playing like here, as you do. Um, so yeah, there was that. I was playing a lot of lighthearted stuff, like the Lego games as well. Even now, I find I still can't really play anything that's too deep and heavy and dark. I still have to, like, light and fluffy. Like, the world in general is particularly at the moment, not to get into all of that stuff, but it is
Mm,
scary at the moment, and I am one of those
yeah.
people that's very conscious of the kind of content that I expose myself to. So, like, well, cozy games weren't really a thing 8 years ago. So for me, it
I think
was just like,
I just don't know if they had that, I don't think they were a particular genre.
no, it wasn't like that sub-genre or genre that they've kind of turned into. No, absolutely
Yeah.
not. The Sims was another one that I sunk a lot of hours into then. But also too, just reading, as I said before, like, I'm a bit of a
Yeah.
reader as well. And it was just reading the books that I was reading out loud. So I kind of, when you've got a newborn and you've not really had anything to do with small children and babies before, it's kind of like, oh, what do I do? And you run out of things to talk about to them. So I'd just start reading the books I was reading out loud,
Oh,
and it
that's
would just put my son to sleep. But
that's
yeah, so
actually
it was
amazing.
those kinds of things, and lots of kids movies, like Pixar and Disney movies too.
There's actually this term and it's called literary gamers. I don't know if you've heard of it before.
Oh, I feel like I have seen it mentioned in like the
Yeah,
Twitter
so
sphere or
it's
something before.
it's an actual, I guess,
Oh, there you go.
genre of as a subgenre of gamers, and it's the ones that really love to read.
Ah,
And
well, there you go.
hmm,
Because those,
so
like, really heavy narrative, like those choose your own adventure kind of ones,
yeah,
I
yeah.
love those games.
Have you played
What are
Baldur's
they?
Gate?
Not yet. Not
I,
yet.
I feel like you might like it.
It's just one of those things. It's on the list,
Yeah.
but I've just been playing way too much Just Dance lately. Admittedly,
Love that.
everything else doesn't matter right now. It's Just Dance.
It's amazing how they've gamified physical exercise.
I
And
know.
because it's tricking you. You've got some of your favorite songs in there, and
Mhm.
you just it's a vibe. And then
I
like
know.
I feel I've played it when I have played it. I feel a bit delusional because I'm like, I could totally get that score. Like,
I know. And I, as much as I love the series, I'm still very much a casual gamer when it comes to Just Dance.
yeah.
But I feel like, you know how so every year almost there's a new Call of Duty game, and then there's new FIFAs and new NBAs. Like for me, it's Just Dance. And I hang out for it every year, and I might only play it solidly and consistently for the first month or so that it's out. But then there'll be moments months down the track and be like, oh, I just want to play that, just do that one dance, that one map.
Oh my goodness.
So fun.
That's awesome. And that is so amazing. So I think I had undiagnosed postpartum depression, and
Well, which is what mine was as well. And
yeah,
sorry to just cut you off there, but I
that's
realized
okay.
I didn't mention that before. So despite the fact that I don't know what it's like for you where you are, but here, and it may have changed over time. Like I said, my son's 8 now, so it's been a while and things do change. But they make you do like a little screening test as to how likely they think you'll be at getting postnatal depression. And I didn't flag for it when I
Yeah.
did the test. So when I mentioned that, hey, I don't feel okay, it was just put down to fatigue and baby blues. And I'm like, no, I really don't feel okay. And no, it was just brushed off. Like, well, it can't be that because you didn't flag for it at your 20-week check. Like, okay.
Yeah, wow. You know, for those of you who are watching or listening who either haven't entered motherhood yet or aren't going to have children, I want to tell you there's a lot of holes in our system. As good as our healthcare system is,
There is still room for improvement.
There is a lot, especially when it comes to postpartum care
in general, in general. I can go into a few other things that I've been through since then, but I don't want to scare your viewers, Doom.
Look, we're very real. We really are around here, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Like for some people, it's a lovely experience having a newborn, and they have a lot of family support and a lot of money. Money will help you have a better time with a newborn. Lots of family
100%.
support will help you have a good time with a newborn. But you know what? If you don't have those things, it's so rough. Oh man, I would have changed so much if I could have. Like, I don't have extended family, but if I could have afforded a postpartum doula for a couple of weeks, like to really set me up, just for the company,
an adult company too. And I think that's something that is really undervalued. And like, I was quite lucky. I had, they say it takes a village. And I am very fortunate to be living in the town that I grew up in, and most of my family's here and stuff. But whenever people would pop in to see me, it wasn't to see me. It was to see the baby.
Yeah.
And there was no like, hey, how are you, Hannah? Or would you like me to just watch Bub for 5 while you go and have a quick shower or anything? And that's what I wanted the most. Or it'd be like, oh, I've got to like put clothes on the line. Would you mind just doing that while I do this? Or can you watch the baby while I do that? Yeah. Just things like that. And that's like a little top tip. If you've got someone in your life that's expecting, doesn't have to be the first time, and you want to try and help out, just ask them how they are. Offer to watch Bub for 5.
For sure. Definitely.
Take the bigger kids out if there's bigger kids involved.
Yeah. It really,
those kinds of things.
The thing is, when you're in those moments, like,
it's hard to ask for help.
Yes, it really is. And you feel this pressure to just have your shit together.
I know.
All the time. And it's like, this is my first time.
And it doesn't matter that I know. And I remember, so like I said, I'd never had anything to do with little kids. Like even my cousins, I didn't have a lot to do with my littler cousins when they were super little.
Mm.
Because there's really not that much of an age gap between us anyway. But like I remember being in the hospital and needing to ask for help as to how to put a nappy on because I had
Yeah.
no idea and things like that. And then just being made to feel really silly for that. I was like, well, I don't
Oh,
teach
I'm
this at
sorry.
school, you know? Like,
Oh,
just like, is it
yeah.
like when you put a saddle on a horse, like the two fingers between the strap? Like,
I mean,
I don't know.
yeah, look, there's oh, I can look. I'm a big subscriber of. There's no such thing as a silly question.
Mm,
I've personally, I've never felt afraid to ask questions, but I know for a fact that I've been looked down upon for asking questions when I haven't known something. Uh, but you know what? Any of those people that do look down on me for asking questions, they're probably not people I want in my life anyway. So
exactly right.
if anyone makes you feel dumb for not knowing something, well, sorry, bye. Uh, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
but because you are like a cesspool of emotions, hormones, tears, blood.
Fatigue, unlike anything you've ever
Oh,
experienced.
if honestly, if you are someone who struggles with lack of sleep, you're
Consider
not
this
going to have
a reminder to take your pill.
a wrap it. We're all
Yeah.
about wrapping it here on
Yeah.
Confessions of a Gamer Girl. Just ask Ellie.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No, look, it's we're not. I don't. I think the point of this is to not scare people. I mean, look, nothing can prepare you. No book, no movie can prepare you for becoming a parent.
Mm.
Um, and everyone has a different experience. But
Yeah,
if you
there's
can,
probably people out there watching this right now and being like, oh, it wasn't like that for me. Oh, no, it is actually sunshine and rainbows. And well, congrats that
lovely.
it was that for you. Awesome.
That's
Like, slightly jealous that that's the experience you had, but everyone's experience with it is different, just like
mm,
any aspect of life. Like, we all are different people
hmm
as well, and our
definitely.
lives are different and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, it is tough for some people.
hmm Well, I'm very glad that you had that outlet
Mm,
during that time. For myself, I wasn't fortunate enough to be able to afford that hobby because
mm.
it can be really expensive.
It is a very expensive hobby. I guess in a way too, I was a little bit fortunate because at the time I was working at one of our game retailers. I don't know where we stand with saying brands, but yes, I was working at a local game shop. So I was able
Hmm
to access things not for full retail. Thanks, staff
Okay,
discount.
that helps.
Hmm.
It
And a lot of
also,
the stuff was my well, now my ex. A lot of it
mhm,
was all his stuff anyway, so I was
yeah,
just like, "Hee."
yeah, amazing. Oh well, sharing is caring.
That's right.
Yeah, so the pressures to kind of stay up to date, especially if you are in a social media space, with the latest games and staying relevant and all that kind of stuff, you can get really like kind of wrapped up in it. So as much as keeping your hobbies, whether it be gaming, whatever it is, if you are sharing that with the world, I think you can get a little bit wrapped up in having the
But
best and the latest.
yeah, what do they call it? Keeping up with the Joneses.
Yeah.
That kind of
Yeah,
attitude.
for sure.
And I think that happens if you're in a social media space for anything
Mm.
too. Like, I feel like that would be a big one for like the beauty creators and things like that as well. Like, it is hard. And then you sort of I feel like back then when I started, the whole focus on engagement and numbers and things like that was nothing like what it is now. And people, I feel like now, have that added pressure to make sure that they are playing the latest release stuff. And I'm seeing it time and time again. People are posting, being like, oh, I feel like my numbers are really tanking at the moment because I can't afford to go out and just drop $100. Well, now $120 for your current gen stuff, retail,
Yeah.
$120 on the latest PlayStation game. And it's like, well, you shouldn't have to feel that pressure just to keep relevant in this space. And I think if you are starting to feel like that, maybe you just need to take a little bit of a step back and just reassess. Do you want to hang on to the hobby? Or is it now just about keeping up with trends? It's a tough one. It's a tough one, particularly if you are trying to make something of your social media space as well.
Definitely. So how
I was just going to say,
huh?
sorry, I was going to say, it is okay to wait for stuff on sale. We just need to normalize that.
Well, we're all about normalizing that. Ellie, again, with the amazing takes, she said that if she can't afford a game, she just waits for the people who have, blasted through the game because, some particular retailers have seven days and you can return a game.
Yep.
So they just play it for that amount of time. And they're just like, yeah. And and then they sell it on and then you get a discount on it. So
yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's the way. We've got to play smarter.
Exactly. So you can play harder. Exactly.
Exactly right.
Definitely. So how do you manage those feelings as a mum? Because obviously I know from my own experience, because I have two lovely cherubs myself, a 4-year-old and a now 7-year-old. Please stop growing.
Ooh, busy.
Who allowed that? Who allowed children to grow up?
I know, right?
They need to be fired.
My son is nearly as tall as me.
Stop it.
He comes up to about here on me. And I'm like,
wow.
He's so
my
tall.
Goodness. I did actually look down at my 7-year-old and I'm like, you're up to my elbow.
I know.
What?
It's like, just stop.
And I'm average. Her dad's a average height. So yeah, it's just crazy. But yeah, managing the feelings of, I'm bringing my hobby into a social media space where I'm sharing it with people. They're giving me, I'm putting my energy into that, and then they're giving me their energy back. My kids take my energy from me. My work takes my energy. How do you manage not making it a little bit obsessive?
Yeah, it's a really hard one for me. I'm still trying to work that one out myself. I am the kind of person who I will just completely block out everything else if I feel like I'm neglecting something. So I think a really great example at the moment of that is during October, I was away from home for a very long time, as I'm sure you can also relate to, because you were in Melbourne and you were in Sydney, and as was I. So, and then I got home and I was like, holy cow, I really need to step up because I haven't really been mum of late. And if you look through the timestamps on the posts on my Instagram page, they are very sporadic. I don't think I've really posted anything on Instagram for about a month now. In terms of posts, I'm always sharing just nonsense in my stories. But in terms of actual curated posts, it's very, very sporadic. But because I co-parent my son, I do have the weekends where it's just me. So I do use that as an opportunity to, I would like to use it as an opportunity to start to batch creating content and things like that. And catching up on comments and all that sort of stuff. But for me, my content creation isn't really my number one priority. So I'm always family first, then it's my work, and me moving into my announcing role is something that's, I just finished up my second week as a full-time announcer. So because I'm still learning, thank you. So yeah, because I'm still learning in that role and all that sort of stuff, that's kind of a little bit higher up on the priority, and then content creation's just a little bit further down at the moment, just while I catch up on real life stuff. But I'm so bad because I think I just hyperfixate on one thing and put so much energy into that, and I really struggle with filtering it out and making sure that it's all even. I don't know. There might be a little bit of undiagnosed something else in my brain.
I think everyone struggles with that balance, though. It doesn't matter
Yeah.
if you're diagnosed or
Yeah,
not.
it's just a thing.
It's just life.
Yeah, yeah. But as my son's gotten older, he's fully aware of the fact that people on the internet know me as Eeramz. He will tell everyone that, oh, this is my mum. Her gamer tag's Eeramz.
Oh,
Because
please
he's
don't.
turned into, oh, he does. It's ridiculous. So he's quite the little gamer himself. And I was telling him about PAX, and he knew what PAX was. I'd love to take him. I just feel like he's still just that little bit too little, because it is not only is it a big trip for us, but like it's a huge weekend. And even though we are past the "Mummy, I've got tired leggies" phase, he'd just be like, "There's Sonic, and I'm staying on Sonic all day." It's kind of like when I take him to the zoo. He'll be like, "No, the meerkats," and then we don't look at anything else. So I have been trying to just share that with him and show him what I do. And he'll give me some ideas too. He'll be like, because he loves Mario, he loves Minecraft. And he'll be like, "Mummy, you should do something for Mario." And I'm like, "Well, I don't really play Mario, you do." And so, yeah, I just try to like keep him involved in what I'm doing as well. He does pop up on my Instagram every now and then in my stuff. But yeah, it's getting harder and harder to play the games when I've got to share them now. And even though he's got his own Switch and I've got mine, we only
you're
have
lucky.
one copy. We only have one copy of the games though, Doom. So we've still got to share the games.
Right. I mean,
So I haven't had a lot of time with Mario Wonder since it came out.
neither have I, because it's been commandeered.
Yes. Yes. It was in the pile of things for Santa to take to the North Pole and wrap. But the mum guilt kicked in pretty hard at the end of October. So he got it early.
Well, luckily I had my eldest 7th birthday on the 2nd of November. So that was my gift to her.
Yep.
So she was absolutely because she'd seen advertisements for the game, and she was like, "Oh, sorry, I'm gonna yawn."
Oh, don't start.
Mum
You'll
life.
get me now too. Yeah, well, that's it.
And even so she got that then, but I still had to wait, and we do share the Switch, so take it to her dad's and then bring it back here, and it's just but you're right, the sharing of the games, I hadn't considered that, but I'd just be like, "I'm playing you."
And
there's plenty of other games.
I know, and like he'll come in. I've been trying, like I'm really excited because I feel like now I finally have a player too. We can sit and we can do the multiplayers together. But he is so bossy.
Tell me about it.
Oh my gosh. I'm like, "I don't like playing with you." And he's like, "Why?" Because you're bossy. Like we play Minecraft, and so we're in like the split screen, and I'm like, "Okay, so how about you build one thing, and then I'll just like you build our house, I'll build our garden." And then he'll just come over and be like, "Mummy, why are you doing it like that?" I'm like, "I told you to build the house, I'll build the garden."
Oh, see,
we'll get there.
I look, it's a beautiful thing, having that intergenerational relationship with gaming. It does bring families together.
Yeah.
But also it can add to the tension. It can add to the friction.
Yeah, it's we're actually kind of seeing the friction a little bit at the moment. So as I said before, we co-parent, so My son's father and I were not together. We haven't been together for quite a while now. But his dad has introduced him to Fortnite. Now, I am not super okay with my son playing the shooter games, only because it sends him a little bit nuts, right? It's kind of like giving him red cordial, and it just sends him a bit bonkers. Okay.
It's a very
So
stimulating game. Yeah.
yes. So at home, it's the Lego games, it's Minecraft, it's the Marios, Pokemon, whatever else. But at his dad's, he's been playing a lot of Fortnite lately. And I know that out of all the games he could be playing, Fortnite's probably like the most innocent one. So yeah, I've been trying to accept that. And just because, just the idea of like him being involved in online chat and things like that, I'm also not super okay with. But when I expressed my concerns, and I guess I'm also really lucky here because I have such a good relationship with his father, and we talk about everything when it comes to our son. And I did express my concerns, and his dad turned around and said, well, I'm there too. I play in the lobby. Like I'm there in the lobby with our son, and then he's got a little brother as well. So
Okay.
dad's there keeping an eye on things. He's not like, some may consider that as like helicopter parenting, but he's just there to make sure that if there is any nonsense happening, he's like that buffer, which made me feel a lot
so he
better
doesn't
about
let
it.
him like sit in a room by himself playing
No, he's
Fortnite
very
with headphones
involved.
on.
Yeah. No, very involved and just monitoring what's going on.
Yeah, it's a tricky one.
When they are so little, particularly, and very new to the space, it can be a little bit worrying because there aren't, like, not everyone out there is nice, and you do have to be very careful. But I think while I'm sort of on the topic of, I guess, online safety and all that sort of stuff, I think as a gamer parent, it kind of gives you an upper hand when it comes to having these conversations with the kids as well.
Definitely.
Because you know what's out there and you can sort of bring it into their language as well and into the context of the games. It's not just like, because I've seen it before when I was working at said video game store, and you'd have parents that come in completely oblivious to the hobby and the world of gaming and all that sort of stuff. And you kind of had to step up as an educator in that position as well.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, I just feel it kind of takes a little bit of the awkwardness out of the conversation and you can speak in their language. So
I think that's probably one of the most unique things. I think as we move into a extremely technological society, and a lot of our social interactions are either online or they're not face to face, either video, audio, whether it's in games or even like this, for example. We have this understanding, like you say, we have this this dialogue that we can use with our children, where we know what the warning signs are for these kinds of scenarios that we don't want our kids in. We know what the bad games are. We know the risks, and it's up to us, just like any other parent, to monitor that. There are so many settings in a lot of these games that parents can actually go into and change it. Obviously, when you do enter an online space, it can become unpredictable. So making sure that you're either setting the settings so that there's, you can't chat to people, you can't receive friend requests from people that you don't know. There's a lot of things that you can do to protect your children online. And while they are so young, I think it's really, really important that and if you're not a gamer parent, there's so many resources out there for you to become educated, and you can learn anything on the internet these days. So, learn and be interested in your child's interests. Like, that's what I would say.
And I think just be really open-minded about it too.
Yeah.
I've dealt with a lot of comments from people over the years that when they find out that I'm so okay with my son playing games,
Mm.
and all that sort of stuff, I do get a little bit of, I guess, in a way, backlash from it. Like, oh, isn't he better
Really?
off playing outside and things like that? And I go, well, yeah, he does that too, you know? And
Yeah.
the way I look at it, it really, like anything in life, it's moderation.
Yeah.
And as you said before, we are moving into a more digital world, and there really is no avoiding it, even at school. You
Mhm.
know, I don't know what it's like for your eldest, but my son, all of his homework, it's done on an iPad. There's no pencil and paper. He
Wow.
sits and he does his mathletics on an iPad, and then his home reader, everything. It's all like either on
Oh,
the computer or on a tablet. So, yeah, it's
there you
so
go.
regardless, he's getting exposed to that sort of stuff. And I just look at it like, I come home from work, I sit down on the couch and I scroll TikTok for a couple of hours just to unwind. And for me, him watching his random little Minecraft YouTube videos and blobs of fruit singing, it's really no different. That's him
Yeah.
unwinding, and
Yeah.
then he goes outside and burns off all that energy and runs around like crazy, and then we do the bath and dinner thing, and then he unwinds of a nighttime playing an hour or two of Switch games, you know? And that's just, it's not hurting him, it's not hurting me, it's not hurting anyone. He enjoys it, and
Yeah,
it's something that we get to share together.
for sure.
And I don't see why that's an issue, why people find an issue with that, to be honest.
Every the thing is, everyone has different parenting styles.
Yeah.
If you were sharing what your child ate every day, they'd be like, "Oh,
Mm.
you're feeding your kid the wrong thing," or whatever it might be. And I think whenever we put our parenting out in a public forum, especially in places like social media where you can be anonymous, you can be a stranger, you don't know this person, you don't
You
know
don't even need
their
a
life.
face.
Nope. You can say whatever you like, and it can be almost like a victimless crime. Like, you can just get away with it so easily.
Mhm.
And like you said, there aren't nice people out there. And I think that probably really leans into probably one of the reasons why, despite being really active parents in our children's lives, why we don't share what we do as parents that are gamers,
Mm.
because of that
Yes.
that fear of either our child's safety or fear of being absolutely roasted every single
Mm.
day for how much screen time your kid gets, when they literally they have homework on an iPad and they're using laptops at school.
Yeah. It's like there's no escaping it. But like I've not received comments like this myself, but I've got so many friends in the Instagram space, and I see it time and time again where they're sharing screenshots of the kind of comments that are being posted on their content. And it's like, oh, it's a real shame that you're spending all of that money on those games and those collectibles and you're just neglecting your children. And it's like, shut up.
What?
Yeah.
How do you know
Like,
how much money I have in the bank? How do you
yeah. Like, how do you know that these aren't my children's belongings? They just, I'm just harming them. But it's no one's business.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, if
Yeah.
you want to go and spend money on stuffed toys for Pokemon, then so be it. Like, who cares? At the end of the day, as long as your kids are fed, you're fed, your bills are paid, and there's a roof over your head and there's fuel in the car, why does it matter?
Yes. Again,
Mm.
we're in a space where we're trying to enthuse and share our hobby, and yet we're met with backlash about something that, you know, they might know that you're a parent and then see you sharing, you know, your collectibles, and you're just sharing like what you
Yep.
have and how much you love
Yep.
it, and do you love it
Yep.
too? What do you have? Show me what you have.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Exactly.
it's
It's like, well,
we're seeking connection.
I've probably had all of these since I was a kid,
Yeah,
you know? And
that's
they've
exactly
been
right.
rotting in the garage for 20 years, and I've just decided, hey, you know what? Might just put them up on a
Maybe, and
shelf
you know,
inside.
maybe they were gifts, you know, like
That's
who says
exactly
it?
who cares?
And you know what? If you are out there and people are giving you crap for how much you buy, or like, oh, you probably just got that free, or you know, you probably just got that sent to you, or you know, you probably should be spending your money on other things. You don't owe anyone an explanation. You,
Absolutely not.
you yeah. Honestly,
No,
don't even give it a moment of your time, because it's a
no.
waste of energy. And you know what? Instagram now
Oh
has a
God.
setting, and I've said it. I've put it on my Instagram. You can't comment unless you're following me.
Yep. I think I've had that set for a little while now because I was sick and tired of all the bots. I've
Yeah.
had something like that, or it might be with messaging. I was just sick of like every single day being like, oh, amazing profile. Want more followers? Shut
Ah,
up.
yes. The the they're not exactly mum pyramid schemes, but
Pretty close to it.
they're yeah. No one no one is going to give not a random account won't contact you to collaborate with you.
No, no.
You have an email in your bio. They
Mhm.
will reach out there. And even
Exactly.
then, just make sure that they're actually legit, because I've had a few dodgy people get through the emails as well.
Yeah.
So,
Mm.
but yeah, it's like it. I think something that I'm entering into, and you are as well. It's like this whole other layer. Like you know the potential dangers of
Mm.
being in this space. You know how fun it is. You know how much enjoyment you get out of it, and you know, community, and you know, friends, and just, you know, how good it makes you feel. But
You
also,
still have to be mindful
yeah,
of the other side of it.
for sure.
Um, yeah.
Is
Yeah.
that something you considered when you started sharing online?
Um, Probably not so much for me. I think just growing up with the internet the way that I did, I feel like I just ended up in the world of social media in the days of MySpace and Bebo,
Yeah, I
without
know.
really giving it much thought. And I've just kind of rolled with it. It's like,
Mhm.
whatever. um, but it's certainly something that I have had to have taken into consideration over the years, particularly as my son's grown more interested in what it is that I'm doing and
Mhm.
wanting to be involved in it as well. Because he did ask me, he's asked me a few times if we could start a YouTube channel together where we like, I think he wants to do like Lego builds and like opening up Pokemon cards and things like that. And I'm like, yeah, we probably could, but it's like, ooh, do I really want to open myself up to that? But see, it could potentially make us millions. You know, Ryan's Toys, he's had quite the career. I could do that with my child. But then it's like, at what point does it start to kind of border on child exploitation? It's the
Yes.
other,
I
which we don't want to
mean,
be doing.
yeah. Like my kids are very funny. They have fantastic personalities. They're very charismatic children.
Yeah, that's my
And
son as well.
you know, to think of the potential for, especially as, you know, we're creative people, and that's why we've leaned into this
Yeah.
hobby, but you know, creating on Instagram or whatever it might be. You know, it's kind of, you kind of look at it and you're like, oh, it's a kind of a missed opportunity. uh, but at the same time, I don't want it to become everything. And
Yeah.
I yeah, like it would be
Like, you just
fun.
want to let them be kids
Yes.
is the big thing too. But I think I just think denying my son the opportunity completely flat out, like just a flat blanket, no, absolutely not. I can't help but feel a little bit hypocritical because he just wants to do what mum's doing,
Yeah,
kind
but
of thing.
what were you doing when you were 8?
I was throwing rocks at kids, pretending like the rocks were Pokeballs and the kids were Pokemon.
Yeah, okay, fair. Yeah.
Although there were times as well where was it? No, I don't think Lizzie McGuire was a thing, but I think those kinds of shows were quite like, the girl that lived the double life and she was like just a regular schoolgirl, but then on the weekend, kind of like Hannah Montana, and then she was like the
Yeah,
pop
okay.
star kind of thing. I used to fantasize about those kinds of lives as well.
Love a bit of healthy disassociation.
Yeah.
I was heavily into Harry Potter.
Yeah. Actually, Harry Potter didn't hit me until sort of high school. That's when I kind of
Okay.
really deep dived and became all consumed by it. I was more Lord of the Rings before Harry
Okay.
Potter. But then, you grow up, you get a job, you have
Yeah.
grown up money, and you can buy Harry Potter stuff.
You can buy all the things that you wanted to buy
All the
when you were a
things you've
kid.
always wanted to buy. Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Exactly.
I've been talking about that on the radio a fair bit lately, actually, and just things from like the early 2000s and my childhood that have just come back again.
Oh. Okay, tell me what what kinds
Well,
of
I
things?
was in Big W the other day and I walked past a Furby. Yeah, there's a Furby on the shelf. They look very different to what they used to.
Mm,
But I'm like, okay, these are a thing again. Look at the fashion. Maxi denim skirts are back. I don't know how I feel about that.
I saw
Um,
I've seen a
NSYNC are
lot of
back
fashion.
together.
Yeah. Weird.
You know, just
It's
things like that. And then I kind of feel like, oh, is this what our parents felt like when things from the 80s started coming back in like the late
but
90s, 2000s? Yeah.
but did they come in? Oh, yeah, I
I don't
suppose
know,
like
like
the
acid wash sort of stuff.
like yeah, and like the hipster movement, I suppose. Like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I just really don't want to have to wear low-rise jeans ever again.
No, no. Well,
I
the mum tum wouldn't
I
allow it.
no. No, it would
No,
not. We've never recovered.
no.
And our baby daddies didn't buy us new tummies. So,
No,
you
no,
know,
no.
we can't do that, okay?
They can stay. I feel like I don't know. For me, hair mascara was a really big thing.
I remember the sparkly hair mascara, like with it
Yeah,
was gel. I remember
yeah.
that.
And I
Is
I
that
had like an electric purple one, and I used to
oh,
put it in my hair all the time and pretend I was like a member of Bewitched. Because I think one of the girls used to have like that purple streak in their hair too.
yeah.
Mm,
Okay, that's a vibe.
yeah.
You gonna bring that back?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe. Leave it with me too.
Oh, that would be awesome. Look, there's a lot of things to celebrate that have come back from our childhood. But being a parent is not for the faint of heart. And when you combine that with something that you love so much, there's a lot of bitter sweetness that comes with that.
Yes.
Um, and
And
mm,
I was just going to say, I think too. And then you compound being a woman in
mm,
that as well. Because, us girls, we can't just do things because we want to. The world kind of wants us to justify our every move and explain why we're doing the things we're doing. And I feel like when you enter into motherhood, that just explodes tenfold. And it
oh,
can get pretty tough.
it's I never thought I would subscribe to spending my life explaining why I'm doing something. And it's something that I don't think men think about because it doesn't come up for them.
No.
And there's just so many ways in which society is extremely harmful to women, regardless of whether you're a mother or not. It's, physically, psychologically, emotionally, and it just doesn't, like, we talk about it, but it just doesn't feel like it's talked about enough or in a good quality way.
Yeah.
And as we move into this digital village, was what I like to call it.
That's a good one.
It's even more important that we have these open, candid kinds of conversations, like feeling like, at the end of the day, we're, when we're working full time, we've got school age kids, we pick them up from school or after school care, whatever it might be. We bring them home, we cook them dinner, we make sure they do their homework, we shower them. Meanwhile, we haven't had a rest during that time. And then they end up saying, okay, we just want to have some downtime and quiet time. And sometimes that is, a game of something on the Switch.
Yep.
And, then you've lost track of time because you're busy cleaning the kitchen. You might be doing some, answering some emails from work or whatever it might be. You might have got accidentally distracted on a video from TikTok. We're all human, right? Or we might have, gotten on a phone call with someone, and next minute, your kid's asleep with the, Nintendo Switch on their face. Like, you're not a bad parent. It's just, these things happen, and that is the reality.
Yeah, exactly right.
We're constantly sold a lie.
Yeah,
it's as simple as that. We think that being a woman, and when I was a teenager, like, it was all about like having a happy family and being in love, and like, I just remember being obsessed with love. And having a family, and it was like we were told we could have it all. We were told we could have a family and a career and a successful social life and all of this stuff, and it was all a lie.
Yep.
It's like you will be successful in all of those things, but then society was like, oh, but we're not gonna help you.
Yeah, well, actually.
When you go out to work, you're only going to get paid actually $100 for that day because you're spending so much money on daycare.
Yeah. If you're lucky, you might not even break even for the day. I'm so glad I don't have to worry about daycare anymore. I was actually discussing with a friend who's got quite little ones, and she was like, oh, Hannah, when does it start to, like, money-wise, when does it start to get easier? And I'm like, the moment you stop buying formula, and then when you stop buying nappies, and then when you stop paying for daycare.
Yes.
And if you go into the public school system, which, don't get me wrong, uniforms and school food and all that sort of stuff is expensive, but it's nothing like paying out the wazoo daily for daycare.
Exactly. So if my comfort in my life from all of that, plus the mum guilt, because what do you mean you're not staying at home? And if you stay at home, what do you mean you stay at home? You do nothing all day. And look at you, you've played video games today, and what have the kids done? They played with blocks right in front of me, and I, like, honestly, half the time I probably spent 25% of the time with the game on, actually playing it, and the rest of the time I was on the floor with the kids. Like, it was just there to keep me company. It was just there to make me feel myself.
Yes, that's right. How dare you?
And that's what we want. We just want to be able to feel ourselves and not have someone ask us why.
Yeah.
Why do
just let us do our own thing? We ain't hurting no one.
It's just, I was on another conversation with someone, and they said they have someone at their work, and they always say, "But did you die? Did anyone die? Is it the end of the world?"
Exactly. That's like, I ask myself that sort of at the end of every day when I start to question, the decisions I've made as a mum, and when the mum guilt kind of creeps in, when it's like, oh, I should have done that, or I could have done this. It's like, yeah, but did you die? Did he die? No. No,
At
he
the end
went
of
to bed happy
Yep.
and content, and you're going to do it all again tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know?
And then when they close their eyes, eventually, you then have to make a decision. You have to decide whether you would like to take back some time for yourself to play the latest Spider-Man, or the latest, I want to level my character in World of Warcraft and, get good. Or, play a couple of rounds of Fortnite or whatever it might be.
Or in my case, read a chapter of your book and fall asleep 3 words in.
I actually did that recently when I was reading the Britney Spears book. But yeah, you have to make a decision whether you're going to sacrifice like sleep for your hobby, the thing that you love to do.
I know.
And then,
or do I pack lunch and
Yep.
get a bit of a head start on tomorrow so I can have a little bit of a sleep in?
Yeah.
Or do I just wake up super early and just smash it all in the morning? I still haven't worked it out yet, Doom.
I'll tell you a secret. No one has.
No.
Otherwise, there would be a best-selling book or Kindle or podcast out there.
Yeah, there'd be something out there, wouldn't there? Yeah.
For sure.
Well, it won't be us.
Look, I can make you feel better about your choices. I can encourage you to be your best self. I can sit with you on your bad days because I know what it's like to sit there alone on those bad days.
Yeah.
And I see lots of, most recently actually, because I've been actively following or trying to follow more gamer mums, and I want to see what they're doing.
Yeah.
And
I'm also one of those people, and it's like, I look at some people on the internet, and I know we were just sort of discussing the whole, it's not all rainbows and roses behind the scenes, but I do look at some people and I'm like, how have you got your shit together enough for that? And I know that it's probably all crumbling to pieces in the background like it is for me. It's just, I am guilty of falling into that trap.
I know.
But I think us gamer mums, we just really, I would like to see us sort of all band together.
Definitely. I encourage any gamer mum to connect with us.
Reach out. Always open to chat. It's like one of my favorite things to do with my Instagram account and with just my platform in general is I love finding not just the gamer mums, but the gamer parents. And I love having conversations with them. I met so many people at PAX this year. I mean, I've met lots of people at PAX over the last couple of years that I've gone, but I just feel like I made so many new connections this year and so many gamer parents, and it was great. And they too were there without their kids. And rather than putting up with the question, oh, where's your child? It was, oh, hey, and blah, 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 blah. And what do your kids do? And how old are your kids? And what do they like to do? It's like, so there wasn't that initial, well, where are they?
Maybe we should, I don't know if they had it. I didn't see it if they did. Gamer parent community meetup.
I did see that, and I was almost going to go to, I hardly got to like any of the meetups and the panels that I wanted to go to because
there was a lot.
There was a lot. And also I get down there to PAX and then I'm just like, whoa,
What planet am I on?
I know. It's like time moves so fast and so slow here all at the same time.
Yes, definitely.
It's huge.
And
And I think too, because it's such like, it's nowhere near as far for me to travel as what it is for you.
Thank you.
But there's still a lot involved for me. Like it's a 3-hour drive to the airport, and then it's the hour and a half flight down and all that sort of stuff. But because I live in such a small town, going to the city, it's just, it takes me a little while to adjust. And because I've only been to Melbourne like 4 times, I'm then trying to like get my bearings and all that sort of stuff and like soak in as many like landmarks as I can so I don't
Yeah.
get lost.
Maps is my friend. Always will be. I don't know how I would live without it. So very, very grateful for that, especially when traveling to all these lovely events. And I think because I think it is becoming more accepting that parents are gamers, because I think a lot of us, the 80s was like the golden era, for gaming. And I think it was inevitable that we, like some people think we don't touch grass, or like, gamer guys are all virgins. Where they do eventually procreate, and they end up making little versions of themselves. And I think it's just becoming more accepting. Do you think that?
I think so. I really do think so. And like seeing things like at PAX, the handheld lounge, and how many kids you see sitting with
That
their
was
parents
so
in the bean
cute.
bags and stuff. Like I love that kind of stuff. And I'd really love to see more of a focus for like the younger ones. Like I know things like PAX aren't designed for little ones. And I keep using PAX as an example because it's the only gaming convention that I've ever been to. I've done Supernova a few times, but it's like a whole other thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would really love to see things like PAX really step up and sort of bring something for the younger ones, or at least the parents with younger ones.
That would be cool.
Like more just more kid friendly stuff. And more of a focus on like the games for the littler ones too.
Like a PAX crash. That'd be great.
Yeah. Might have to let Kitty know. PAX crash.
I don't know how that would work. I don't know whether that would be a good thing or a bad thing.
Just get rid of the queue hall and turn it into like a giant soft fall / ball pit. Good luck keeping the grown-ups out of that one though.
Oh my, no, you have to be under a certain height to enter.
Yep. But like even if there was just sort of like how they have like the dedicated spaces for like the indie devs and stuff like that. Like if there was just like a section for the kids games. So like, what's a publisher? Outright Games that do all like the Paw Patrol games or the Peppa Pig and those sorts of ones. Like just have like a whole section for the kids.
That would be cool.
Kids. Like
honestly, you could probably make a PAX Junior, to be honest. You could with the amount of cute kids games like Bluey, the Bluey games coming out.
I'm so excited for the Bluey
it's so
game. We're
good,
a big
right?
Bluey family.
Yeah.
So happy that's happening.
A whole like Lego, a whole like just get Lego to make it. Lego, if you're listening, sponsor PAX Junior, okay? Because that would be so much fun.
So good.
We'd be
and like it doesn't. I don't think like it wouldn't have to be anywhere near the size.
Just one day.
What PAX is just like one day.
Yeah.
And just stuff for the little ones.
Yeah.
And if it cater for the under 12s, that's
it's
a pretty big market out there for it, to be honest.
It really, really is. And
I feel too at the moment, we're at like with my son, we're at this weird in-between stage where like the little kids games, they're too little for him. And then the like next step up, it's just a bit too big. So just that little in between from 7 to 10.
Well, I'm sure if they're listening, they'll put their thinking caps on. For sure. Well, Hannah, it's been an absolute pleasure to chat with
thank you.
Let everyone know where they can find you, and
I'm at Eeramz everywhere.
I'll have it linked in the description.
Yeah, thank you. Or Twitter, it's at Eeramz with an underscore. Thanks, 17-year-old me. I've locked myself out of the just without the underscore. And yeah, that's pretty much it. In terms of anything exciting coming up, not really. Just trying to get my head around being a radio announcer and then just making it through to Christmas.
Yes. Big time as a parent. And congratulations on your award.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. That was very unexpected and incredibly huge.
It's, I was extremely proud to see that.
Thank you.
And yeah, I'm glad that there's something out there that recognizes country radio.
Yeah, well, that was national. So they break it up sort of country, provincial, and metro.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so I was awarded the Best New Talent Off Air for the country division. And also the ACRA's now recognised podcasts as well.
Oh.
Which is very exciting.
There you go.
Yes.
Look out.
So some people, I feel like there's a common misconception out there that podcasting may cause the death of radio, but that's not the case. Radio is kind of encapsulated podcasting, and they share, like radio's like trying to help out as many podcasts as they possibly can, and they're joining forces. There's lots of radio people that do podcasting. There's lots of podcasting people that are getting into radio. Like it's very intertwined. Yeah. So
well,
that might be something for you to look into for next year.
Oh my goodness. I don't even know. I didn't even know that there is awards for podcasts. So,
there's plenty out there. There's plenty out there.
Who knows what the future holds for Confessions of a Gamer Girl? Regardless, before I let you go, I just want to finish on, do you have any advice for any gamer mums out there? What's something that you want them to take away from here?
Just keep doing what you're doing. Don't feel like you ever have to bring yourself down a level or justify doing what you're doing. Just keep loving your hobbies and keep sharing it with your kids. Don't feel like you have to stop. Don't let people make you feel bad for it. At the end of the day, stuff what they say. It's your life. They're your children. Just do what makes you happy.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much again. And thank you to all of our listeners on Spotify and our watchers on YouTube. And we will see you all next time for an episode of COAG Conversations. Thank you.